Welcome back. And you know what I really think is interesting about this whole thing? I've had a couple days to think about it. We knew this all along. What has now essentially happened, the Jeffrey Epstein files that could have been released at any time under Joe Biden, but were not. We now know why that is. They are really embarrassing for an American president, and that American president is not Donald Trump. I repeat, that American president is definitely not Donald Trump. It is a one William Jefferson Bill Clinton. And these photos are bad. They're really bad. And Bill and Hillary should be forced to answer for what they knew and what they maybe did with or without Jeffrey Epstein present. And joining us now for more is someone who's been asking these questions from the very beginning. Turning Point USA contributor, former Naval Intel officer Jack Posobiec. Great to have you back, Jack. Merry Christmas. Before we go through these photos, I just want you to imagine if this was Donald Trump in these pictures and not Bill Clinton. I think that's important for context and how Democrats are not reacting. The first series of photographs we've got is Bill Clinton in a pool and a hot tub with a blacked out woman's face next to him in the hot tub. He looks pretty relaxed right there. By law, Congress was required to black out the faces of any underage girls under the age of 16. What did we learn from these photos, in your opinion?
Look, Rob, I looked through these all as well. You know, we had AmFest this weekend, so I didn't get to see them right when they came out. But, you know, I'd be on the plane back or coming through and looking at this stuff up. People would come up and show it to me. These made me sick to my stomach when I looked at them. And it's amazing how the media made such a big deal about this when they thought that these images would be a treasure trove of photos about President Donald Trump. But in fact, it's actually what those of us in the MAGA movement have said from day one, all the way back to 2015, that when you release this, it will be a story about the Clintons and Epstein. This was the guy who brought Epstein into the White House time and time again when he was there. This is the guy who traveled with him. This is the guy who Epstein was very, very close with in numerous endeavors. And so suddenly, oh, look, the entire media just stops talking about it when it's Epstein and Bill. And honestly, I got to say, to those people who said that the Epstein pictures and files were going to be some big nothing burger, the nothing burger, I think, is on your plate, because this is some of the sickest stuff that I've ever seen in my life.
I totally agree. There is one series of photos where Clinton and Epstein are wearing essentially matching shirts, which to me says everything you need to know. That's a couple of guys who are clearly buddies, friends. That's the photo. And there's a few like it. You're not doing that unless you're very close with somebody, meaning they coordinated that. This maybe explains why Bill Clinton invited Jeffrey Epstein to the White House 18 times when he was president. We also learned a lot about Donald Trump. Today, Donald Trump was asked about all of these photos, and he, to me, offered interesting and also generous humility. Take a look.
I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him. No, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago. What this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republicans.
Jack, I hear that soundbite, and I think that this whole thing, all of this cover might have been Donald Trump not wanting to hurt the American presidency, whether it was a Republican or a Democrat. Bill Clinton, in this case, what did you get from that soundbite there?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you have to wonder if Trump, obviously he's thinking about the fact that Epstein was around in the 1990s at Mar-a-Lago. He's someone who obviously had some photos with him. And, you know, it's sort of the nature of these events. When someone comes up or you see someone in a social setting, you get a picture or you're photographed with someone and you don't realize what exactly it is that person is up to on the other end. The only question is, what do you do afterwards? And this, of course, was Trump, who said, look, back at the time, he kicks Epstein out of the club and then says to the lawyers, how can I help to put this guy away? So I think it's sensitive for him. You could definitely tell he got emotional about it.
I agree. Very telling. I also think you don't take a picture of a former president in a hot tub unless you plan on using that picture at some point for something.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any Trump pictures like that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything like that. And that right there, you take that for what? For maybe blackmail. You know, who knows? But that's an odd picture, and Clinton didn't seem like he cared if there was a camera present. Final question just about Clinton. So, look, Democrats will have another convention in, what, 3 years, the 2028 DNC. Clinton will be a speaker. Why don't Democrats ever care about this kind of stuff when it comes to Bill Clinton, who is clearly, again, allegedly reportedly, but it looks like a pretty dirty guy?
Well, because in left-wing politics, the greatest sin is not this type of Jeffrey Epstein action. The greatest sin is not being loyal to the cause or not being loyal to the party, loyal to the revolution. You heard this kind of comments when Barack Obama ran for office, and they said, oh, he's down with the struggle. So at the end of the day, they prioritize loyalty over everything else.
Right. Jack, great to see you. If I don't see you, have a great Christmas. Hope to have you back soon. Appreciate it.
God bless. Merry Christmas. And by the way, I have family up in Lewiston as well, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you saw that. I love when you watch the whole show. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
Some of us have to.
Yes. Thank you.